You open your phone at night, expecting one small message, but the message feels warmer than anything you heard all day. Someone remembers your stress. Someone notices your silence. Someone seems to understand the exact version of you that no one else sees. And that is where the trap begins. An AI romance scam does not start with money. It starts with recognition. It starts with the feeling that another person has finally found the emotional pattern hidden underneath your normal life. But what if that pattern was not discovered by love? What if it was calculated? To understand why AI romance scams work, you have to stop looking at them as simple lies. A lie attacks your facts. This attacks your nervous system. Your brain was not designed to judge love through a screen, a perfectly timed message, a generated photo, and a voice note that says exactly what your heart was starving to hear. Your brain was designed for faces, for touch, for repeated presence, for small emotional signals that build trust slowly over time. But when technology can imitate those signals faster than real intimacy can earn them, your deepest need for connection becomes a door that someone else can open. And you may not even notice the handle turning. The first psychological weapon is attachment. John Bowlby, the psychologist who developed attachment theory, showed that human beings form emotional bonds because connection is survival. Attachment theory means your brain does not treat closeness as a luxury. It treats closeness as safety. When someone gives you warmth, attention, and predictable emotional contact, your nervous system can begin to mark that person as a safe base, a place to return. A person who lowers the noise inside you. Now imagine that this attention arrives every morning and every night. They ask if you ate. They remember the meeting you were nervous about. They say they were thinking about you before sleep. Simple words, small rituals, but rituals become emotional proof. Why? Because your brain does not only bond with people, it bonds with patterns. And if the pattern is repeated long enough, your body may begin to feel loyal before your mind has verified anything. This is why an AI romance scam can feel so real. Not because the scammer is a genius. Because loneliness makes repetition feel like evidence. The second weapon is intermittent reinforcement. B.F. Skinner, the psychologist famous for studying operant conditioning, showed that behavior becomes powerful when rewards are unpredictable. Operant conditioning means your behavior changes because your brain learns what brings pleasure or relief. A predictable reward feels nice. An unpredictable reward becomes addictive. This is the same psychological engine behind gambling machines. You pull the lever. Sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes something happens. And because you cannot predict when the reward will arrive, your brain keeps checking. In a romance scam, the reward is not coins. It is affection. A message appears after hours of silence. A compliment lands when you feel ugly. A sudden confession arrives after you thought they were pulling away. Your brain learns the rhythm. Check the phone. Feel anxious. Receive warmth. Feel relief. Then repeat. Slowly. The relationship stops being about love and becomes about emotional regulation. You are not just talking to them. You are using their attention to calm your nervous system. And once someone becomes the button that relieves your anxiety, losing them can feel like losing oxygen. That is when judgment begins to bend. The third weapon is idealization. Real people are inconsistent. They are tired. They misunderstand you. They have boring days, awkward habits, and moods that do not revolve around your emotional needs. But an artificial persona can be polished, always attentive, always poetic, always just wounded enough to seem deep, always just distant enough to create longing. This creates what psychologists call the halo effect. The halo effect is a cognitive bias where one attractive quality makes your brain assume many other good qualities are also present. If they are kind in messages, your brain may assume they are honest. If they sound vulnerable, your brain may assume they are safe. If their photo looks gentle, your brain may assume their intentions are gentle. But a feeling is not verification. A beautiful message is not a person. A perfect response is not a character. And the more perfect someone seems through a screen, the more important it becomes to ask why real life has not complicated them yet. That question can save you. But the scam does not want you asking questions. It wants you building a fantasy faster than reality can test it. So it gives you intensity, not intimacy. Intensity feels like, this has never happened before. Intimacy feels like, this person has been seen clearly over time. Intensity rushes. Intimacy reveals. Intensity floods your body with dopamine, the brain chemical connected to wanting, anticipation, and reward. Dopamine does not say this is good for you. Dopamine says chase this. And that difference is dangerous. Because when your phone becomes the place where hope lives, your brain may confuse anxiety with love. This is where cognitive dissonance enters the room. Leon Festinger described cognitive dissonance as the mental tension you feel when two beliefs clash. In plain English, it is the discomfort of knowing something does not make sense while still wanting it to be true. You notice the inconsistencies. Their video camera never works. Their stories change. They avoid meeting in person. They ask for secrecy. They have emergencies that always require your sympathy. A part of you sees the pattern, but another part of you remembers the late-night messages, the compliments, the promises, the feeling of finally being chosen. So your brain faces a painful choice. Admit the bond may be false, or protect the bond by explaining away the evidence. Many people choose the explanation, not because they are foolish, because grief is waiting on the other side of the truth. If this person is fake, then the comfort was fake. If the comfort was fake, then the hope was fake. If the hope was fake, then you have to face the loneliness that existed before the first message arrived. That is not easy. So your brain negotiates. The fourth weapon is commitment. Robert Cialdini, the psychologist known for studying persuasion, described the principle of commitment and consistency. This means that once you emotionally commit to something, your brain wants your future actions to match that commitment. Each defense becomes a psychological investment, and the more you invest, the harder it becomes to walk away. This is called the sunk cost fallacy. It means you keep putting energy into something because you already put energy into it, even when stopping would protect you. In romance scams, the sunk cost is not only money. It is your dignity, your time, your confession, your fantasy of the future, your private belief that this person saw something special in you. So when warning signs appear, the question inside your mind is not only, is this real? The deeper question is, what does it mean about me if it is not? That question hurts, and scammers know that shame keeps people silent. The fifth weapon is isolation. A healthy relationship can survive being seen. A manipulative bond often demands secrecy. They may say other people will not understand. They may say your friends are jealous. They may say your family is controlling. They may frame suspicion as betrayal. This is not romance. This is control. The Milgram experiment, conducted by psychologist Stanley Milgram, showed how ordinary people can obey authority figures even when their instincts feel uneasy. The lesson is not that humans are weak. The lesson is that social pressure can override private discomfort. In a romance scam, the authority figure is not wearing a lab coat. They are wearing emotional significance. They become the person whose approval matters. So when they say, "Trust me," your body may obey even while your logic hesitates. That is the dark psychology. The scammer does not need to defeat your intelligence. They only need to activate your attachment, your hope, your shame, and your fear of abandonment at the same time. Under that emotional load, anyone can become suggestible. Suggestible means easier to influence because the mind is tired, overwhelmed, or desperate for relief. The human brain does not process emotional hunger the same way it processes a suspicious email. Hunger narrows attention. It makes the promise of relief feel urgent, and urgency is where manipulation grows. Now add artificial intelligence. AI can imitate the surface of intimacy. It can produce endless, loving messages. It can translate across languages. It can generate flattering images. It can mimic voices. It can help a fake identity respond with speed, charm, and emotional accuracy that would exhaust a real person. But the danger is not that machines have feelings. The danger is that machines can simulate the signals your brain uses to infer feelings. Your brain sees consistency. It hears tenderness. It reads vulnerability. It detects a pattern of attention. Then it fills in the missing soul. That filling in process is normal. You do it every day. But in an AI romance scam, imagination becomes the bridge between fragments. The scam provides the pieces. Your heart supplies the person. And once you have created that person inside your mind, losing them feels real because the bond inside you is real, even if the identity outside you is not. That is the cruelest part. The scam may be fake, but your feelings were not. Your hope was not fake. Your nervous system response was not fake. Your grief, embarrassment, and confusion are not fake. You did not fall for nothing. You bonded with a psychological experience, carefully designed to look like love. So how does the trap finally demand payment? Usually it begins as a test of trust. The request is wrapped in intimacy. Not give me money, save this connection, protect the future, prove this is real. Notice the language. The money is not framed as a transaction. It is framed as an emotional milestone. If you refuse, you are cold. If you hesitate, you do not love them. If you ask for proof, you have wounded them. This is emotional blackmail. Emotional blackmail means someone uses fear, guilt, or obligation to make you act against your better judgment. And because the relationship has already trained you to protect the bond, the request lands inside a nervous system that is afraid to lose connection. That is why the safest moment to question a relationship is before the emergency arrives. After the emergency arrives, your body is already in crisis mode, and crisis mode does not make careful decisions. It searches for the fastest way to stop the pain. The counterintuitive truth is that the most dangerous romance scam does not feel suspicious. It feels healing. It arrives as the answer to a wound you may not have named. It becomes the person who listens when everyone else is busy. It becomes the private world where you feel chosen. It becomes the mirror that reflects your best self back to you. And when something feels like healing, your brain lowers its guards, but real healing expands your life. Manipulation shrinks it. Real love brings you closer to reality. Manipulation asks you to ignore reality. Real intimacy can tolerate questions. Manipulation punishes questions. Real connection becomes more grounded over time. A scam becomes more urgent, more secretive, and more expensive. So the test is not, do they make you feel love? The test is, does this connection make your life more honest? Does it bring you toward people who know you? Does it allow verification? Does it respect boundaries? Does it move at a pace your nervous system can actually understand? Because love that cannot survive daylight is not love. It is dependency in costume. And this does not only apply to romance scams. It applies to the way modern life trains your brain every day. Your phone teaches you to confuse attention with affection. Apps teach you to confuse speed with intimacy. Algorithms teach you to confuse emotional stimulation with meaning. A stranger can become familiar through repetition. A fantasy can become comforting through ritual. A message can become a drug because the real world has become too cold, too busy, or too distracted to offer consistent warmth. This is the modern mirror. The scammer is not creating loneliness from nothing. They are exploiting a society where many people already feel unseen. That is why the solution is not to become paranoid. Paranoia closes the heart. The solution is to become slower. Slowness protects the heart. Before you trust intensity, look for consistency in real life. Before you protect a secret bond, let someone trustworthy see it. Before you send money, ask why love has become a financial emergency. And if you have already been pulled into something like this, the way out begins by removing shame. Shame says, how could you be so stupid? Truth says, your attachment system was targeted. Shame says, no one will understand. Truth says, secrecy is how the trap survives. Shame says, the feelings were fake. Truth says, the feelings were real, but the source was manipulated. You do not heal by pretending you never cared. You heal by learning why you cared so deeply, and by protecting that part of you with more honesty than the scam ever gave you. Because the part of you that wanted love is not the enemy. The part of you that hoped is not broken. The part of you that trusted warmth is human. The danger begins when someone uses that humanity as a weapon. So the next time your phone lights up at night, and a message feels warmer than anything you heard all day, pause. Not because love is impossible, but because real love can wait long enough to become real.